Shane Kaneki. I'm the high school principal. This is my 15th year, which seems totally crazy to me because, well, I know many of you, but it just does not seem like 15 years. It's just such a great community, great school system, great support system that I suppose that means I enjoy what I'm doing, right? When it's 15 years, you don't even realize it. This is our administrative team, each one of them except for Jason. Jason somehow got out of this by scheduling a bowling meet for the senior night, or so he says. And you know, here we try to get a night where there's not other events going on, and then we've got bowling, we've got honor band, so you'll see me scoot out of here to go to DeWitt to watch honor band. But I apologize for still having those events, but we're glad you're here. All right, today's agenda is, as you can see, it's going to be a lot on pathways, choosing courses wisely. I don't have to read these all to you, but I will point out a couple things that are extremely important for us. And it is understanding the journey these guys are going to make me laugh because they say, if Shane says pathway 5 times, we're leaving. And so I get so excited with our college pathway opportunities that that'll happen probably in the first couple minutes. So you'll see these guys get up and they might walk out. They do have to come back for their part though. But that's one of the main things. And then of course, choosing your courses wisely. Those are the things that I'll focus on. Students to be successful after us. So they have to be college and career ready. Now I'll interchange those words because when we first started talking about this as our vision, I'd say college, and then everyone shut down and didn't hear the career part. And we've kind of morphed it into career and college for that purpose. You know, when I first got into education, it was all about 4 universities, and now it's really to make sure that our students have a career journey planned out. That doesn't count. And so we're looking at certifications once they graduate. It used to be just graduation. Let's get to graduation. Now we want to see our success after us. So after 6 years is where we start looking at, do they have a certificate already? And that matches the governor's vision as well. Future Ready Iowa, where we're trying to get 70% of Iowans to have some sort of certification by 2025. Our goal actually is to have 100% of our kids. We know that's a high expectation. That's where we want to be, right? Because if we don't, even if there's one, that means we weren't successful. Because if that was my child, I would want them, that one, to make it and get their certification 6 years after. Why focus on career pathways? Well, here is where, man, you're going to make me stand. I am not a person that likes to speak in front of people anyway, so I have to move, and I really want to move for this one. So we have, as you can see, 60% of our senior class enrolled in year 1, 45% of our senior class of 2014, because that's the first group of data that we have on this, and 45% of that class earned a certificate or diploma by year 6. That's not nearly good enough. We need it to be higher. 86% of our seniors say they will further their education, but only 71.9%, and the data is always a couple years behind, said that actually made it there. So we have a gap of about 15%. So we've done some things to really help out with that. Emily's here. We actually hired Emily as a transition counselor with Eastern Iowa to try to close that gap because we're losing that 15%, whether they need help with FAFSA or they need help determining their journey.
4.5.
All right. Concurrent enrollment and pathways. It's fun working with these guys. 95.2%. So this is some of our data that is a good highlight for us. We had 95.2% of our seniors that graduated with college enrollment from North Scott. You know, and so that's, of course, we want it to be 100%, but we keep raising that incrementally, and so we're at 95.2%. That 95.2% average 20 college credits. So it's not just that they're taking one. Now, it does differentiate between what it is. We have some kids that are getting a welding certificate, and we have some kids that are getting their AA degree. You know, so there's a vast variety and choices for kids, depending on what their journey may be. Graduates left with a total of 4,349.5 credits. You can tell the math guy in me, I was a math teacher, I always have to put that 0.5. They're like, well, just round up. I'm like, no, I can't do that, it's 0.5. And then we were ranked first in the local area. And actually we're, I think, top 8 of the state, which it doesn't matter size. So you're talking Des Moines, Davenports that have multiple high schools. We're still in the top 8. And we saved millions of dollars for families, mine included. So it's just a great opportunity. So make sure that you continue to talk to your students about that. And then we had 6 graduated with an AA degree. And that went from, 1 3 years ago to 3 to 6. So we're looking to grow that. Now, Davenport North also has that opportunity, but it's only for a select few. This opportunity is for any student to at least get a start, right? You don't necessarily have to finish your AA, because it is really difficult. Both of my daughters have an opportunity to finish with an AA, but they had to take some classes that we paid for as a family in the summer because it becomes just too intense at times. But it's doable. If your student is excited about doing that, it is doable to do here. Right now, we only have 2 areas where we can't do the AA actually on our campus, and that is in the music area, like an intro to music theory, and then chemistry. We don't have a college chemistry. So, but the neat thing is next year is going to be the first year, so your students will have the opportunity to take the intro to music class that can be here. So then we'll be down to 1 you only have to take outside of here if you really wanted to get your AA. I would recommend, what we see is we see a lot of kids that at least get 1 year of college kind of completed, or 1 semester, but guess what? That's awesome, right? It saves you money, gives you an opportunity to double major if you'd like, so a lot of possibilities with that. Of course, we talked about the college savings, but you can see what 20 credits cost at different, whether it's community college or the 4-year public university or a private college. Saves a lot of money. The average, that's just the average senior. So that's pretty awesome. All right, these are some of our pathways, our current pathways. As you can see, we're continuing to develop more. In fact, I would say our IT Academy is closer to being ready to go. Actually, when you sign up for classes, I think it'll be a go. And, but you can see we have, of course, Associate of Arts, Science, Agriculture, Automotive, Construction, Med, Assistant, Nursing or Health, Welding, Education. The neat thing is, when we created, I'll use an example, if we do it here, it grows. For example, CNA. We had CNA, we've offered it through the community college for a number of years, but we used to have 1 or 2 would take it. When we got the grant and had our own classroom, now we average between 30 and 40 here. And so that's pretty awesome, because all nursing pathways now require a CNA class to be taken, so it's a great start. Here's an example, associate's degree tracker that we have, but I want to get into, basic welding certificate, we'll come back to that. This is the nursing example. So, as you can see, this is the example is we have, Eastern Iowa has what's called a 2+2 program with the University of Iowa, which then it can be St. Ambrose, it can be with whatever, but University of Iowa is the one that is promoted there. And we can get that first year completed here if you're really interested in that, which is kind of neat. Get you in, a great opportunity, a great start into nursing. The only class that we don't have here on campus is the microbiology. So that would be one that you'd take as a CCIR. So we've got 9 out of the 10 that you can take on our campus. We'll go back to the welding. The welding, we have all of the classes except for the 3 in orange, and then you go to the Belong Center, which is only, about a 5-minute drive if you know where the Belong Center is from here. But if you really think the welding journey is your way, then you can take these classes here. So you start as a freshman, and you'll have them completed by the time you're a junior, so you'll be completed with your you'll have a basic welding certificate completed your junior year of high school, and then we have apprenticeship opportunities with John Deere and Eckhart. It's been a pretty amazing partnership. We have kids that are graduating, making $65,000 with no debt. Wish I would have had that opportunity when I was in school. All right, this is the other focus part besides the concurrent. Courses should be based on, your request should be based on educational goals, career goals, and teacher recommendations. Do not base your request on your friend, right? And we do see some of that. They choose something because their friend's in it, and the next thing they know, it's not the area that they wanted. So make sure that it's based on those goals, because we won't make scheduling changes unless it meets one of these 5 criteria. The reason being is because if we have to be relatively strict, because our course schedule is determined specifically on what kids sign up for. So for example, this is an example I always use. We have 33 kids sign up for, well, let's say we might have Chinese next year. So 33 kids sign up for Chinese. And then all of a sudden, it comes to the first week of school, and they're like, oh, I want out. I didn't really want to sign up. I signed up because my friend signed up for this, and 5 kids come. Well, we hired that teacher for 2 sections, and now we actually could have hired them for 1. Or if it's a full teacher, like in Spanish, if we made 2 sections of Spanish 4, and then all of a sudden we could have made 1 Spanish 4, and then made the other Spanish 3, Spanish 2, Spanish 1 classes smaller. So it's really important that you sign up for the courses that you're really interested in, because we'll also hire teachers if we need to for those, Chinese being a good example. Preparing students at North Scott, how are we doing on that? Well, of course, the consistent and viable curriculum. So if we have an Algebra 1 teacher and an Algebra 1 teacher, they're working together in a PLC to make sure that they're hitting the same standards, they have the same assessments and that sort of thing. Now, they might teach something just a little bit different, but then they come to a PLC and they're like, man, your kids are rocking it. My kids struggle a little bit. What did you do? And then they learn from each other that way as well. And then we have that's the professional learning communities. We have MTSS, which is a support where if a student is struggling, we can have Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3 interventions. Mr. Marceau is going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. Of course, we have the 43 concurrent enrollment opportunities and 6 AP opportunities. Now, when we hire teachers, we always want to hire the best. We want to hire the best. However, if we have 2 teachers that are really good, then we want to look at the one that can teach concurrent enrollment, if possible. Now, I know that on the salary schedule that costs the district a little bit more, but we know that that is what is important to the kids, if we can provide those opportunities. If we don't have a teacher that can do a concurrent enrollment class, then we will do advanced placement. So that's why you'll see like certain schools might have more advanced placement because they deem that more important. We deem concurrent enrollment more important. And you don't have to take a test to make sure that you get the college credit. You're just going to get the college credit as long as you're taking care of business in that class. So we really consider that the most important. However, if the best teacher is the best teacher, then we'll go the advanced placement route, because we're not going to hire a bad teacher just to teach concurrent enrollment, if that makes sense. Then we have, of course, the Eastern Iowa Associate of Arts or Associate of Science. We have pathways and apprenticeships, and of course, we try to develop strong relationships, and we're continuing to do a better job with that. All right, how do we stay connected? Mr. Marceau, I guess, what are we going to walk away with you today?
I don't know. Hi, everybody. My name is Mr. Marceau. I'm one of the associate principals here. The good news about all of that information you just heard is this presentation is available online. All of those links are live, so you don't have to remember all of those acronyms. Obviously, great opportunities here, but the live stream recording and this presentation will be sent out to everyone after this event tonight. So don't worry too much if you didn't write all of that down. One thing I want to say is along with that is a couple of ways that we really try to stay connected here with students at North Scott High School. live links here as well. First one is just to the high school webpage. You'll find a lot of information there. Getting a little bit more detailed, we do a lot of our communication via Infinite Campus, which is new to everyone here at North Scott this year. So you already have an account. That's where all of your daily announcements will come from, grade, feedback, et cetera. And then also Canvas is where you will find more of the day-to-day assignment expectations and feedback there. So I expect that most of you are familiar with that, having been in the North Scott system for a while. If you are newer to North Scott, that is something that you will want to get on as a parent account on both of those platforms. We also have links to all of our social media accounts on this page, as well as a link to the student handbook. We will go over that with all of the students as the year gets started. It is not vastly different from what they experience at the junior high, but it might be something to look at if you have questions after tonight or as you think about what it's going to be like in the high school experience. That's a good place to start and kind of give you an idea of what it looks like to be a student here at North Scott High School. And then we also have a parent and community advisory group. I know the attendance to that has probably been lower since COVID, but that's something that we're always looking to connect with people. So as a parent, if that's something you're interested in, being more involved in what it looks like here at North Scott High School, we would love to hear from you to have you be part of that committee so you can help drive some of the decisions that we make here. As Mr. Kanucky alluded to, one thing that we use here at the high school is the Lancer Way. What this allows us to do is basically eliminate behavior from a student's academic grade. We want that letter grade at the end of their academic term to reflect what they know, not necessarily how they behave in class. So getting rid of the idea that you can bring in Kleenexes and get extra points, or if you work well in a group, you can get extra points for that, but more of from the content, what do you actually know? So with that in mind, these 4 behavior tenets are what we really strive for everybody in this environment to do. So that includes staff members, our therapy dogs, students, support staff. Everybody should be doing these things. So that's be here, be involved, be respectful, and be excellent. For those of you that are at the junior high, you have very similar expectations. And the way this works is every 3 weeks, students will be given a score by all of their teachers in these areas with feedback on things that they could work on. So again, what we're trying to do is take away the idea that coming to class on time should impact whether you're a B+ student or an A- student. That should be determined just by your knowledge of the content, not how you behave in this environment. So that's what we try to do, to still provide feedback on that, but not necessarily punish or reward students for their behavior in classrooms. This is our daily schedule here, so I know that a lot of the students that are in the audience, this is something that potentially is a lot of anxiety. So something I'm just going to talk about briefly. We are on an A-B block schedule, and what that means is that you'll have an 80-minute block every other day for each of your content areas. I see a lot of people taking pictures. Thank you. So what this means is, aside from basically first period, so first period is where like our band, orchestra, and freshman transition classes exist. So that is 45 minutes every day. And the reason we have that is for our band and orchestra students, it means that they're not then missing out on a block that they could take another academic class. And then for those of our freshmen that are not in band or orchestra, we use freshman transition as kind of a soft start for them, get them some study habits and some career skills so that they're prepared for kind of this journey for what high school is going to look like for them. For the rest of your academic classes, you will have those 80 minutes rotating A and B days. So that means that in a given week, you will have a class 2 or 3 times, and in a semester, you'll have that class between 40 and 45 times. We really like that structure. It provides the length to really get in depth, and then also gives some space in between classes for students to explore some learning, reflect on it, and have time to work on anything outside of the classroom. So that's a little bit different than what you've experienced up to this point. So that means you'll take 8, potentially 9 classes each semester. Our classes, most of our core classes and the majority of your freshman classes are year-long courses. So for instance, you'll have algebra on every A day first semester and then again second semester. Very few of your freshman classes will be a single semester, but you could get into more of those electives that are single semester classes moving forward. And then you will notice at the bottom here we have this half-hour, 6-period help center. That's very, very similar to your boost structure for those of you that are North Scott Junior High students. So that's a responsive schedule time, and what that means is if I'm a teacher that needs to talk to an individual student or a small group of students about a specific skill or content piece, I can call those students in for that half hour for a day, 2 days, 3 days, a week, whatever it might be, to really focus on that one skill that they need help with, and then they're released from that. So that is a class that as a freshman, you will probably be assigned to a fair amount. As a freshman, if you are not assigned to a help center, you have an open study hall during that time. Okay, we do have our freshmen need to be here until that 3:15, but you have an open study hall in the cafeteria where you do have the ability to socialize and kind of decompress from the day, but you do have a place that you are accountable for at that time. Kind of shifting gears here. One thing for all freshmen, you will have to have a certificate of dental screening by, I believe it is September of next school year. Oh, before the first day, so that's August. I think they give you a grace period, but I didn't say that part. So if you have that certificate, you can turn that into your junior high nurse or send it to the high school. We will send out reminders as we get closer to the end of the school year, over the summer, and then obviously we'll really be harping on that once the school year starts. So most of you probably have that or have access to it if you contact your dentist, but sometimes it just slips through the cracks if it's not top of mind. So this is your reminder to start thinking about that, so we have it when you walk in these doors here in about 8 months. And now for the other associate principal, Mr. Schwartz.
He's a hard act to follow. Well, good evening. How is everybody doing? Good, good. I am Aaron Schwartz, the shorter, we'll go with that, associate principal here at the high school. And, excuse me, I guess besides feeling like you're drinking from a fire hose this evening, if we take a step back and take a breath, you may ask yourself as a parent, what can I do? Well, obviously, number one, get your dental screening form turned in. Number two, I would really just say to be involved. Okay, obviously, transitioning from junior high to high school is a big change, and we're going to start to see a transition in your young men and women, being a little bit more dependent to being a little bit more independent. But I still want to stress that you guys have a very important role. So just a few suggestions up here, and really comes down to conversations. Talk to your kid. Ask them how their day is going. Help them to set high expectations for themselves. Okay, be involved with things that we have going on, like 8th grade parent orientation night. And obviously, don't hesitate to reach out and contact teachers, administration, staff when you have questions or concerns. I will say that working in this high school, this is my 15th year, we have an amazing, amazing staff here. And there isn't a single person in this building that wouldn't take the time to do what is best for their students. I would encourage the students to advocate for themselves first, but every once in a while they'll need a parent to come alongside them and help them in that journey. And again, don't hesitate to do that. Don't hesitate to be involved and be a part of their education. You are as much a part of their success as they are. Some tools that we have in place for you to help with that, as Mr. Marceau kind of already hinted on. First is Infinite Campus. And I will say that Infinite Campus is our student information system. So probably the two big pieces you will see coming from that are notifications, emails, and your daily attendance is what that would be known for. Your Canvas, the other side, is really more of your curricular day-to-day activity, assignments, lessons, notes, communicating with teachers there. Again, you guys should be familiar with those from the junior high, but as Mr. Marceau stated, make sure you have those parent accounts set up if you don't already when you get to the high school. Again, just a lot of encouraging your students to do what's best for them, to advocate for themselves, to take the steps needed to do what is best for them while they are in the walls of this building, while they have your support at home, while they have our support here in the building. Just encourage them to step out of their comfort zone, to try new things, to become better. And obviously part of that growing process is mistakes. And you're there, we're here to pick them up and help them along the way. The last thing, again, shifting gears that I have, is one of the hats I wear within the district is I am the district safety coordinator. And I always tell people it's strange to hear an educator say that my #1 priority is the safety of your students. So I want to hit on just a few things to make you aware tonight. This isn't a time to discuss why or if you agree, disagree. I did put my contact information up here. Please feel free to reach out with any questions or concerns at any time. But again, just so you know, when you come into the walls of the high school, some of the things that we do to keep your kids safe. Obviously, all of our doors are locked once the school day starts, and we monitor those very closely to keep a secure building. And then we do things to practice safety. So the first, and my 8th graders in here should be familiar with, is an informed fire drill. North Scott was actually the pioneer of this. We started this. We are working to push this out to other districts in Iowa and across the river. And what we do here is we're just leveraging information that we have. What is the biggest threat to our kids right now? And those of you who follow safety and statistics, the last time a child was killed in a school fire was back in the 1950s. Okay, that is not the biggest threat. We have fire codes, we have safety procedures in place. There's not much in this building that is going to burn. So anytime we have a fire alarm here at North Scott High School, we don't immediately get up and walk blindly out of the building. We take an informed approach, one of the principles of Alice, which I will hit on here in a second. We gather information so that we can make the best possible choices to keep your students safe. So when they're in a classroom, the teacher will check the doorway, which is locked. If they do not perceive or see an immediate threat, they will check the hallway outside. And if there is no threat there, they're in a safe place. They will stay there until they get more information. During that time, administrators are spreading out into the hallways. We are finding out exactly why there's a fire alarm going off, if there's anything we need to be concerned about, and we communicate that via the PA. Second thing there is our ALICE drills. Again, alert, lockdown, inform, counter, and evacuate. The principles that we practice those with 4 drills per year. Those drills do build as we go through a year. And I will say that we do try to take a trauma care approach to those drills, in that no one is required to participate. Anyone who would like to sit out from a drill just needs to talk to myself, their counselor, a teacher, and let them know. But I do want you to be aware that we do build up to drills that use live simulation. We've used smoke in the hallways, we've used starter pistols, those kind of things. We try to make the way we practice as real as possible, similar to those of you in any sport. You go to practice and you try to simulate game situations to get better. We do the same thing here at North Scott. And with those live simulations, we practice those in windows of time. We notify staff, students, parents, everyone of a window when we get to those final drills, which again is going to force you to prepare for all parts of your day. I guess my example for that is if I say we're going to have an ALICE drill during 3rd block science, everyone has a plan for science. What we want is we want our kids to have a plan for all parts of their day, whether it's science, the lunchroom, the hallway, they're in the bathroom. And so really getting our students to think, our staff to think and have a plan before something would happen, so that they know they have an actionable step to take should we ever face that unfortunate occurrence. So again, just some awareness pieces with that. Again, questions, comments, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Email and phone are up there. I am always happy to talk about why we do what we do with anyone and answer any questions that you may have. Also, feel free to find me here tonight afterwards, after the presentation, if you have any questions now. And are our wonderful counselors.
Okay, so we're lucky enough to have 3 school counselors here at the high school and 1 therapy dog for all of our students here. I'm Jill Peckenschneider, and our counselors at the high school are split up by last name. So students with last name that starts with H through N, I will be your counselor, and then the other 2 counselors will introduce themselves when they speak shortly. And Lincoln, did I say? Yeah, we have a therapy dog named Lincoln, and he's in the office and obviously sees students A through Z. Okay, so we're going to get down to kind of the details of the registration and the registration process and courses students will take as 9th graders. But overarchingly, obviously, you're entering 9th grade, but the ultimate goal is for you to graduate and go beyond our walls someday. And in order to do that, students have to have 54 credits in order to graduate. And each semester, each course a student successfully passes gives them 1 credit. There's very few so successfully passing it with a 60% D-, and there's a very few courses here at the high school that are pass-fail, but if your student takes a pass-fail course, 70% is required to get a pass. So 9th graders have core requirements, and you guys will hear, we're going to come over to the junior high shortly and talk about all of this. So this is just a brief introduction, and you'll get more details when we visit you at the junior high. So each 9th grader will take an English course. They have an option of applying for honors English. If not, they'll take English 1. In science, they have options between biology and agricultural biology. If a student chooses and has interest in agriculture and they take ag biology, it's also asked that one of their electives be intro to ag science. Math, all freshmen will be enrolled in Algebra 1 or honors geometry, and our math department here at the high school works closely with the 8th grade math teachers to look at standards, test scores, and your student will get the recommendation from their math teacher at the junior high. And then each freshman takes his U.S. history, first and second semester, a year of U.S. history, and then 1 semester of health and 1 semester of PE strength training. And that PE strength training at the 9th grade level is just with 9th graders, and then beyond that, they can take strength training or physical education with 10th through 12th. Okay, so some of the elective options that your student has as a 9th grader. These are just the course names, and I think we'll say later the course descriptions and course study guide, all of that's going to be available for you and your student to look over, and you're going to have plenty of time to read more about it, but this is just a taste of some of the courses that your student can explore at the high school. So ag science, there's a number of different options. Those are all entry-level courses that a student could take as a 9th grader. Art, they can take Art Tech first semester and then explore 2D art or 3D art after they successfully complete Art Attack. Business and Information Solutions, there's Intro to Business, or if a student is interested in computer programming or Intro to Computers, they can take those options as well. And then Family and Consumer Science, Intro to FACS 1 is Child Development and Life Management, and FACS 2 is Culinary Arts and, oh my gosh, we haven't done this. Design, yeah. And then this rounds out the rest of the electives that they have as options as 9th graders. Intro to Health Occupations, anyone interested in the health field. Industrial Tech, they can take Intro to Built, was more the hands-on woodworking. There's a welding course, or virtual reality welding. And then music, we have similar options to what's offered at the junior high: band, choir, jazz band, and orchestra. And then right now our only world language is Spanish, but like Mr. Kanucky mentioned before, maybe there's a possibility of Chinese in the future. So I think I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Dennehy to talk a little bit about the registration process.
Good evening, I'm Tracy Dennehy. I'm the counselor for the end of the alphabet, O through Z. And I just wanted to give a general overview of what to expect with the registration process. So obviously we're kind of starting out today, just giving you an overview of everything. And we're going to be returning to the junior high on January 30th. We'll come to all of the math classes and we'll talk to the students about the courses that we offer and give them their registration sheets. There's a freshman transition guide, and just talk about some of the things to expect when they come to the high school. So when they come home on the 30th, we highly encourage you to get that registration sheet from your student and start talking about those courses then. Because then we will come back to the junior high a few weeks later, and we will help the students put those requests into Infinite Campus. So the registration sheet that they'll be bringing home will look a little bit like this, and we'll talk with the students about how to fill it out, but they're going to be selecting their core courses, and then they will be able to choose the elective courses that they want to take that will be listed on that sheet. So there is a place for a student and a teacher signature, as well as a parent signature. So for those students that are interested in taking the honors English course, that information should be coming out, if it hasn't already, from your English teachers at the junior high, and then there's an application that you can complete. I do believe there's a small essay involved with it, and then we'll get information back from our teachers about whether you are selected and approved to go take the honors class, and you'll get that information before February 14th when we come back to the class, so you know which English class to sign up for. So as I mentioned, on the 30th, when we come to math classes at the junior high, we're going to give students the freshman transition guide, and in that guide, you're going to find a lot of the information that we talked about today, with the graduation and college requirements, some of the credit information, some of the course sequence flowcharts, so you understand, okay, if I want to get to this class eventually by the time I'm a senior, what classes should I take freshman year, sophomore year to kind of prepare for it. The course descriptions are also going to be available on the website, and the nice thing about that is then if there's ever any edits made, it's made right away and you can always look at that information.
Hi there, my name's Anastasia Nicolopoulos, and if your last name starts with A through G, I will be your counselor next year. So I get the lucky job of being able to pretty much repeat everything everybody else has had to say, so I can't mess that up too much, I guess. So you will see in the freshman transition guide that we will give to students when we go over to the junior high on the 30th. Part of that book will be these flowcharts. And these flowcharts are really, really important as you talk with your student about what kind of classes they want to take. The junior high counselors will be coming in at some point to do a 4-year plan with your 8th grade student. And in that, they're going to talk about, some career choices. And we all know that as an 8th grader, you may not know exactly what you want to do right now. But with that, they're going to look at the courses that we have at the high school and talk a little bit about if this is the career that I want, these are the courses that we have, and these flowcharts are really what we use to guide that. So particularly for things like our industrial tech. So for example, if you really know that you want to be part of our home building program, for example, that is open to our seniors, then you know that your freshman year you should take that intro to build, so then you can take building trades 1 your sophomore year, building trades 2 your junior year, and then that'll culminate into the home building program your senior year. So that's what you would use these flowcharts for. So again, to kind of recap what we've all kind of talked about, we are going to be at the junior high on Monday the 30th in the math classes to kind of go over all this information. So we'll talk a little bit about what the schedule is going to look like. We will go into depth a little bit more with all of the electives. So we will talk about what the art classes look like, what the ag classes look like, I mean, all the electives. So we will be able to talk to all the students about those classes. So we will give them their registration sheets. They will come home to you with their registration sheets along with that freshman transition guide that has all that information in there. So you will have about 2 weeks, because we plan on going back around Valentine's Day. I think we've got that set in, yeah. So, and so what will happen within those 2 weeks is that you will have that conversation with your student about, you know, these classes look good, maybe you should think about this, maybe not. You will sign off on that, they will bring that back to their teacher. We will go back into the science classrooms and help them input that into Infinite Campus. So, if you have questions, please, 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 do not hesitate to reach out to us if this is your first student coming to the high school. If you are not a North Scott, currently not at the junior high, please feel free to reach out to us. Our contact information will be here on the next slide, I believe. We're also available to have meetings. This is really important to us, so it's important that if you guys have any questions, let us know. Also, if your student has an IEP, please know that they will have transition meetings before they come to the high school to kind of discuss kind of what that transition is going to look like. So we will have 8th grade visits here before the school year starts, probably maybe the night before, 2 nights before school starts, and the core teachers will be available. Your students will get the opportunity to open their locker, maybe go through their schedule, meet some of us. It'll be an opportunity. We are not going to just have them start on the very first day without having a little bit of that preparation. So here's our contact information. We will have that information also is on our website. So feel free to contact us at any time.
Hello, I'm Mr. Schroeder. Oh, no. All right, I will go back to this and just, we will, again, in May, usually when we have the step-up day, so we kind of do it district-wide. So when seniors are out, they have that week where seniors are out, then that's when we'll have the 8th graders come up here. So they'll get to participate in a couple things, learn about activities, that sort of thing, and then eat lunch, because lunch seems to be the thing that is the most scary for them, of course. And so we'll do that. And then, of course, you can come in the summer as well to test your locker, that sort of thing. All right. This entire presentation actually is being recorded, and that link that you saw in your letter that was sent home to each of you, you click on that link, and that'll take you to this presentation, but it also will have in the description a link to just our PowerPoint that you can look at your own leisure. If you didn't get a picture of something that you wanted, or you didn't get a counselor's name down and you want to email them, or you wanted to call me, all our information is there. We also have a list of school activities here in this presentation. I won't go through all of that. You'll get, on the step-up day, you'll get to see those again, where we'll have them around the pit where you can actually visit each of them. There is a video here that Mr. Schroeder made. I am not going to play it for you right now. You can go back. It just talks about the different activities and that sort of thing, if you're interested in that. Don't tell him I didn't play his video. And then activity and athletic practice times. You know, most of the time, freshmen are after school. The nice thing about the Lancer Athletic Building, the lab, if you're involved in a sport, is we've worked really hard to provide enough spaces, the board has, so thank you to the board, that we can have practice and still get your child home to eat supper with you, which hasn't always happened, right? When I went to school, we only had one gym, so it would be like a practice right after school, another practice at 5 to 7, another practice 7 to 9. We tried not to do that. The only exception, really, that is not at that time is we do have dance. Dance tends to go really early in the morning. Bless their hearts. They work so hard, and they are so successful, but they are one where the coach has them do it in the morning, and she works outside of the school. Summer campfires will be coming out soon. They usually come out finalized in April.
I can't believe I'm saying soon, I guess that's a couple months, but all schedules and rosters, you'll actually go through the Mississippi Athletic Conference at Oregon Varsity Bound, but more information will come on that as well. Must have a as you can tell, I'm not as hip on this as Jason is, but for competition activities, of course, you have to have your physical. There's an electronic sign that you've read the handbook with your child, and then registering for concussion testing. Actually, Mr. Block does a lot of that for us, which is very appreciated, and that's really kind of a neat thing I've seen really improve over the years. At my years in education is that concussion baseline testing is so important, because then if a student does get hit or lands awkwardly, they won't let them compete again until they're back to normal on that baseline. So it's really a nice thing that's been added to sports since, actually over the last number of years. So sports registration for the 23-24 school year will be open in April. And that's just so you get all the information if you decide that you want to, try out for baseball. It's your opportunity to try out for baseball. Strength and conditioning. This is a thing that we've struggled with for numerous years. It's injury prevention, so we do want students to do it year-round, but you only have right now, currently, you only have one semester where you're in school, and the other semester is early bird, and so there's a couple days a week that they come into early bird. We are looking at ways, can we do it differently, because we know that getting up in the morning is not beneficial for high school kids that early, so we're just trying to think out of the box a little bit. But it's highly recommended, but it's not mandatory. We recommend it because of injury prevention again, but we also know that there's some conflicts where parents are working and they can't get their students here that early in the morning. So just, if there's a conflict, let us know and we'll try to figure out ways to help. There is an important link on guidance and scholarship rule. A few years ago, Jason put this in here because we had some all-star players that were playing on a travel team, and they ended up playing a college JV team, which is illegal. So they got in trouble. They had to sit out a number of games. So we just want to be cognizant of that. Do not get on. Make sure you're not playing college kids and that sort of thing. But there's a link here to explain a little better. Excuse me. Driver's ed. Usually parents ask about driver's ed. There is a link here. You can do it yourself now, which is different. COVID has, I guess, improved that if you're a parent that wants to do that. But there is a link to the AA website. Man, losing my voice. I'm going to be gone tomorrow. Sorry, guys. If you're interested in taking it through the AA. And then we do have, once you have taken it, we do have a school permit. There's an online form that you'll talk through with your child. Again, you have to be 14 and a half years old, and then you have to read through all of those. I mean, really what we want is to be safe and make sure not to get off of your path, whatever that most direct route is. Don't take advantage of it. We don't like having to have the police bring your permit and us having to send it to the state. Excuse me. All right, that is the end of our presentation. Again, it is online. It is recorded. There are links there if you want to look at something again, and we'll be around here to answer any questions if you want to stay and ask us questions. So thank you. Have a good night. Maybe not me.